Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Diversity, and we are here today to talk about musicals. Music is a universal language. Even if you don't stand each other speaking, music is something that everybody understands, everybody knows. It connects us all, and we're film lovers, so incorporating music and film is just an art all unto itself. So we're here today to speak on some of our favorite musicals. So we'll start at the top. Mike, what are some of your favorite musicals?
Oh my, I love musicals. I've always loved musicals since I was a kid. I was in theater in high school. I was in Once Upon a Mattress, which is so funny. But my favorite, all-time favorite is West Side Story. I read the book and watched the movie in school, but I've always been obsessed with it. I have 3 copies of it. I have the book, I have the vinyl, actually, never mind, I have 4 copies. I have the book, the
Mhm.
vinyl, the CD, the VHS. Oh, I have 5 copies of it. Never
Oh,
mind. I have the book, the vinyl, the CD. I have the VHS, and I have the DVD. I have it, and if I might take a step, not next step. I got it on streaming services too, so I got it all the way around. But yeah, West Side Story is my favorite musical. Then I would go into Rocky Picture Horror, and
Mhm.
then maybe Dreamgirls. That's
Okay,
like my top
okay.
three. Well, I don't know. Top three about to be changed, so I don't know. That's about to be changed. I think West Side Story got knocked down a bit, but we'll
So,
talk
what do you
about
think of
that
the
later.
remake of the 2021 remake? What do you think of the remake?
I like the remake because of the cinematography and how real it looks.
Mhm.
Um, I do feel like they missed a little bit of the marks of the emotion depth that it has when Maria at the end of the movie. In the original, I love the ending because of the whole "don't touch him," like, and I
Mhm.
don't feel like they hit that emotional mark for me in the remake. But I do think it's like the way that it's shot, the cinematography, and the film technology that we have now. Yes,
Mhm.
but I just feel the original still has this nostalgic, vintage feel about it that I don't think will be able to be replaced.
yeah.
Points were made. Points were made. Komani, what
It,
about you?
so I I'm not the biggest musical man, but I have. I mean, that's probably a misnomer because there's probably been movies I've watched that I didn't identify directly as musicals that
Mhm.
absolutely are. So I will just simply say my top my before we get into what is currently number one, I'll say what my two favorites are. And that is the duology. Well, not because they both got 3 movies, but the Cheetah Girls 2, High School Musical
Oh, okay.
2, Kenny Ortega's magnum opuses. Um, if Disney Plus didn't kick me to the curb, I gotta get my new keys and everything. I would have watched them earlier today in preparation, but it's just something about those 2 movies. It just felt like with Cheetah Girls 2, the girls went to Spain for their music competition and everything, and then just the entire environment and the pageantry of it was kicked up. The music was higher tempo. Medi Soul, shout outs to Medi Soul, not shout outs to her whack ass mama and everything. The party's just begun. And then goddamn the ballroom the song when they was doing the dancing in the ballroom, that junk go crazy as well. Um yeah, Cheetah Girls and then High School Musical 2 is just a top tier film for me in general. Like it just is, gosh darn, what time is it? Party time, the summer vacation vibes and everything. I still remember it like it's yesterday. High School Musical 2 into the Phineas and Ferb premiere. Come on now. I'm aging myself. And I still to this day say that Bet on It by Zac Efron is one of the single greatest musical performances ever. Just the
Yeah.
determination that song has hyped me up many a times. It stilled my convictions. It's just such a immaculate piece of music. I don't give a damn what the Disney diehards say. Bet on it is the best song in the High School Musical trilogy. I don't care. I love the absurdity of a song called "I Don't Dance," where they're literally singing and dancing at the
And
highest
Coco
degree.
Boo being the best dancer, being the best dancer in
Right?
the whole cast.
Like it's. I will never forget the absurdity of them playing baseball. If I can do this, then you can do that. But I don't dance, knocking out of the park. Like it's just amazing. It's just amazing to me. And those are just my two. And I don't want to just make it seem like, oh, you like the Disney movies. Obviously, I remember watching bootleg Dreamgirls till the DVD fell apart. And Little Shop of Horrors. Little Shop of Horrors.
Right.
I mean, what else can we talk about with that? We got Rick Moranis, we got Tisha Campbell and Tashina Arnold, and being premiered to the world. You know, I'm a big bad mother from outer space. You know, Supper Time. Come on now, like what are we talking about here? That's a classic, the classic. You know,
Really?
and then of course something that is near and dear to my heart that I would hope people would know is the 2000, I believe it's the 2003 or 2005 version of Kiss Me Kate, which is a stage play reimagining of The Taming of the Shrew.
And
And
also, that's a
everything.
plus for our Shakespeare episode. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out because Q talks about it.
Yes, indeed. It's too darn hot. I don't want another Tom, Harry, or Dick. Brush up your Shakespeare. The aforementioned Kiss Me Kate is just such a fan. Like I think, like I watched that in my acting class in my sophomore year of high school, and I'm like, whoa, this isn't like I knew about the your West Side Stories and things like that, but like your Phantom of the Operas, but like I've never heard of this musical Kiss Me Kate. What is up with it? And then it's a nice romantic romp about this. I don't want to spoil. I don't know how hard or easy it is to come by, but watch Kiss Me Kate. It's fantastic. And if you are a nerd person, which you probably are watching our channel, and you haven't seen Cheetah Girls 2 or High School Musical 2, what are you doing with your life? Come on, bro. Like, you know, come on. Like, watch
They're
greatness.
classics. Like, I remember when the first Cheetah Girls came out, and incredible. Like, the first Cheetah Girls was amazing. And I remember when High School Musical came out, they literally had a countdown to days when that movie was going to be released. I remember it like it was yesterday because as soon as it came out, everybody after at school that next day was talking about it. And so when High School Musical 2 came out, same thing, but even on a much bigger scale. So, Aaron, what about you? What are some of your favorite musicals?
Well, hopefully I can be heard because it's currently raining and storming over here, but
I
you
can hear
know,
you.
I march on. Excellent. Well, my three favorites, notwithstanding number one, Omega number one, which we will talk about later, Cabaret, The Producers,
Oh,
and Sound of Music, which completely have nothing in common, that have nothing to do with what's currently happening in the world. Shout out to people who screwed up the votes in America. You know, I mean, all three, they're just about acknowledging, you know, that thing called fascism and Nazis or whatever, and how dangerous it is. And I think Cabaret is probably the best one in terms of like the ending because it's a good warning.
mhm.
I know everybody expected me to say Beauty and the Beast, 1991.
It's a classic,
You know,
though. It's a classic. It's
you
a
know
classic.
what's up. You know
The
what's
movie,
up.
the movie that forced the Academy to create an entirely different category so that an animated movie win Best Picture. So I've heard
A bunch of elitists
Yep.
they're
Yep.
classist.
And egregious.
and egregious. Word to Joan Clayton. And yeah, those three. I love those three. You know, they acknowledge
Mhm.
a horrible, horrible time in America and other places throughout the world, particularly in Europe. Um, maybe we'll have another musical like that about
Oh, yeah.
something else these days.
I'm sure something's
Yeah.
going to come of this
Something
political tournament after
incredibly
something.
topical. Something so
No one
incredible.
mourns the wicked, I'll tell you that.
What? No one wants the wicked. But oh, well, we'll get to that in a few days. To, but I have to say, my favorite musicals, number one, has got to be Chicago. I
Chicago,
I
Chicago.
love Chicago. I love that movie. It is just incredible, and it really, Aaron will get this. This is an inside joke, but it definitely shows that the medium is the message. How they portrayed the movie. It's a show within a show. Like, whilst the women are singing and performing, they're actually doing like a stage performance as well as telling their stories. You know, Chicago takes place in 1920s during Prohibition. You know, the fancy 20s. You know, the Roaring 20s, and one a woman named Roxy gets thrown in jail, and so she meets this famous woman, Velma, who that she idolized, is also in jail. So pretty much it's and she's becomes Roxy becomes murderous, so she gets put in murder's row with all these women who killed husbands, boyfriends, whoever, and she pretty much becomes a celebrity in jail. And the music, like everybody knows all that jazz, everybody knows all that jazz, and everyone knows the Cell Block Tango. That's probably one of my favorite numbers in musical theater history. I love the Cell Block Tango, and it won Best Picture that year for a reason. And Catherine Zeta-Jones won her Oscar for a reason, because when like she did not pull any punches in that movie. Like she was Velma, like she was Velma, like to the end. My second favorite, this is more of the play as opposed to the movie. I like the movie; it could have been a little bit better, but Les Mis. I love the musical Les Mis because I saw it on stage um, when I was 16, because we read the book in 10th grade. Saw saw the musical the next year, and then the movie came out in 2012, and I enjoyed the movie. Um, and then another one is an oldie but a goodie, Carmen Jones, which is Dorothy Dandridge. It's a classic. If you haven't seen it, it should be on streaming. But that's the her singing ability and her being the seductress was incredible. She's been a performer since she was a little girl. So just seeing it come into fruition, that was the role that she won her. Well, she didn't win, but she was nominated. For her Oscar, she was nominated for her role in Carmen Jones. And I really would like to see more adaptations of it on stage, because it's just a great movie, and it's also a great stage play as well, as musical as well. And I know we're going to talk about it later, but I have to say, Wicked is also on that list. And we're going to talk about it in a few days, but it's just an incredible show on stage, and the movie was fantastic. Um, but there's just so many, like Phantom of the Opera. Like, we want to talk jukebox musicals across the universe. Like, there's just so many, and like the music, it shows truths, it heals people. Like, there's a lot of things that music can do for the world, and like I said, putting it in film format is just another extension of that. What do y'all think? What do y'all feel about that?
Go ahead, Mike.
There you go.
Um, so musicals for me. So I'm gonna tell this story. I was trying to figure out a way to tell this story, and I'm glad you teed it up like that, Avia. So back in golly, I want to say, am I muted? No, no, okay, I'm good.
No, we hear you.
Um, back in like I want to say 2005. I want to say 2005. I had one that no. It's a little bit too late. 2003. I want to say I had in my elementary school there was like this contest, and it's like if you write this letter about something you did that was fantastic or like exemplary, you win an opportunity to see the Lion King and the Lion King musical, the live action Lion King musical. And for those who don't know, in Chicago, Chicago theater is like one of the like at least back in the day, it was like a big institution where they had a lot of marquee stage plays happening there. So the Lion King being in Chicago was a big deal. And I'm like, you know what? I don't normally win anything or go into things or contests or like that. So let me just write this story about the time I saved my brother from drowning and whatnot. And I did, and then I ended up winning. And it was so weird. It's like it was almost like it was being teed up for being a magical experience because for starters, it was like a field trip at night because we had to be at the school at night. God, I'm getting nostalgic just thinking about it. You have to go to the school at night and then take the bus to downtown Chicago, and there's a bunch of kids there, and it's like we're going into the big amphitheater, and it's the Lion King, right? If you know the Lion King, it's everything about the Lion King except for its people in the cool costumes and because they would advertise the Lion King in Chicago, like whenever there's like a big ice skating thing or a theatrical thing, they'll like show the commercials for it, so you know what you're getting into. And so, I hope y'all not hearing that in my background because somebody is lawn mowing outside my window. I do apologize. Um, but it was just such an awesome experience, just like seeing the Lion King story and the musical and everything like that. And I was like, man, musicals are sick. This is cool. Like, and me not understanding that you dummy, you watch the cartoon, you watch Tarzan and Aladdin. Those are musicals too. But it was kind of just sitting there, being there in person, that kind of just clicked it all for me. So when it came time to like be an opportunity where I can go to school where there's like an acting class and things like that, I'm like, oh, let me go ahead and go into that. And that's when it's like kind of everything started to like stir the pot and like create a nice little palette of understanding musicals and things like that, and where my appreciation for this medium come from, to the point where one of my favorite Batman things is the musical episode from Batman Brave and the Bold with the Music Meister, because I'm just so enamored with the creativity and how they decided to go ahead and do that.
Cool.
I hope that answered the question adequately.
Yeah.
Musicals for me was always like a thing because I love music and I love music that tells stories.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my main thing. You singing and telling a story. Plus, I grew up in the choir and stuff like that. So like, I don't know. I feel like songs tell a story. So I don't know. I love hearing music in a different format, and musicals just took it to another level for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like I've always loved them. Like I like I guess we can all say the brand that truly starts young kids off. Well, brands. I'm not just saying one because there are many for us that have done that. Disney, of course, was like the flagship. Everybody can kind of like point their love for musicals to Disney. Like Aaron was saying, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Little Mermaid, like all of them incorporate music, and those were some of the films that we first fell in love with when we were kids, and just music has always played a big part in my life. Films too, and just having the two of them coincide and be very cohesive, like Mike saying, like and tell a story. It's something very beautiful about that. That I think, as far as like movie watchers, we take for granted because we don't really see musicals that often, and we especially don't see like phenomenons that take over, the the theaters by storm, like how we've seen Wicked. And I feel like if we have more of that, then people will be more accepting of musicals, because there are some people like, I don't like musicals. They're like, I don't like it. Like I don't like them at all. It's like why? Why don't you like music? And no, that's their prerogative to not. No, that's their prerogative. But I feel like people really should give more musicals a chance.
100% agree with both of y'all. What y'all saying? What about
Cool.
you, Aaron?
But I think something's going on with his mic.
Well, let me take the mic then, and talk a little bit more about my musical experience, because what I've learned, chopping it up with y'all, is that there's many different examples of musicals, right? So, like, let's take an example of a Goofy movie and Aladdin, right? So one of those, people forget that one is a musical and both of them are musicals. They a lot of people don't really understand that, because I think a Goofy movie really only has like what, 3 or 4 songs they play throughout the entire movie, that where the musical piece is
Mhm.
like that's the forefront of the story. Whereas Aladdin, there's like so many songs in it, so many great songs. The opening, "Never Had a Friend Like Me," uh, "One Jump Ahead of the Bloodline," "One Jump Ahead of the Sword." Or let me stop, because y'all already know how I get about Aladdin. Y'all already know. And it's cool to, and I know these are both technically Disney choices. And because I didn't want to use Dreamgirls as an example, because I feel like Dreamgirls is the quintessential musical in terms of having a very juicy story that flows into the music. And you can, so Dreamgirls, you can tell the story with no musical set piece, and it still will be an interesting story to watch. Um, but the music is what sets it over the edge. The music is what ties the drama together, and
Mhm.
puts it at a high, puts it at a high tier. And I say all of that to say that musicals are such a multifaceted medium in the entertainment world, whether we're talking about television or film, that we need more of them. We need
Mhm.
more of them. Period. Point blank. Period.
Absolutely. What do you think, Aaron? Is your mic still? Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us as we talk about musicals. We're going to keep talking about them, and next time we are going to talk about the phenomenon of the past week that has everybody on the timeline just going crazy, and rightfully so. We've all seen it. I had the pleasure of seeing it in London 14 years ago. We are going to talk about Wicked Saturday night, so everybody stay tuned for that, because we are definitely going to give y'all some takes, whether they're good or whether they're hot takes. So please join us Saturday as we talk about Wicked, and thank y'all for tuning in and watch more musicals. Okay.
That is a good. That is, I would honestly say that